Thank you. I'm honored to be first in the second day. And my talk today is about engaging Prometheus in the Rust-like system, another language. So first, a few introduction about me. I'm currently a software engineer at Gripen, which is another database startup. Yeah. And I'm also a Parquet DataFusion PMC member and arrow committer. So today's talk, I will also include much of them. And this is my GitHub ID. I noticed that some talkers yesterday have a unified theme and template, but I haven't noticed that. So this is not no Prometheus orange color here. And yeah, this is my first time being in the Europe. I'm not used to put my own selfish on the slide, so you can see me in visual eyes. Okay, today I will bring this topic in about three major parts. Like first, why we take this, why we bring Rust to Prometheus or bring Prometheus to Rust. And second, what does this kind of action means to me or to our company, to the entire community. And the third is how we achieve this. I will provide two examples with two totally different ways. And before we start, let's give you some content warning. First, this is about talking about Rust in a Go-centric project. I'm not that kind of guy who yelling off using Rust to rewrite everything. No. I do my day job with Rust, but I'm not that kind of guy. And second, I got some cough, so. And the third, I will do some comparison, but some of my code is on one side, so there would be expected biases. But I would try my best to make them balanced. And the fourth is broken English, not very fluent. Okay, let's get started with a quick fact check. In the introduction I put on the website, I said 19% of the projects are written in Go. But I realized I haven't done any formal investigation, so I replaced it with most of. But I think that this state still stands. That if you work using Go, I believe most of you are written in Go. If you are involved with Prometheus, you are mostly limited to exporting metrics only in the SDKs to report data to Prometheus, not leverage your data with your system. And to validate this, I found a picture. That this is from the compilance test, which is provided by Prom Labs, I think. Yes, but this picture is pretty old. About 3 years ago, they haven't updated. Yes, all of them are written in Go. Some of these are, like the first one is hosted by another cloud service, and some of them are speaking Prometheus languages or just on top of Prometheus, like M3. And yes, all of them are in Go. And then I found a GitHub map, which is a project that shows which other projects are related to one specific project. In the center, it might not be that clear, but in the center is Prometheus itself. And around them, we can see many familiar projects like Victoria Matrix, like, I can't see it. Like some Grafana repos. So today, we have a strong and better tested stack around Prometheus, start from Prometheus itself, and Mimir Cortex, and then Sanos, the distributed solution for Prometheus, and M3DB, I think is an enterprise solution, and Mimir, and then lots of cloud provider hosted Prometheus in their cloud, like Amazon or Google. Yes, but I think the innovation any kind of innovations, like either you innovate or develop new things in the Prometheus itself, as we have heard a lot in the yesterday. I think the innovation itself should be easier to happen if you can get your hand on quickly, without you, for example, to have set up another set project or scaffold for around 1 month or like this. So in the other side, this means it is harder for other projects or other communities to get involved with Prometheus deeply beyond their only client labs. Yeah. And the first thing is about integrations. We know Go provide a SQL system that can allows you to integrate other kind of native language like Rust, like C++ into Go. Actually, I have done around 1 year of my job to trying to replace the underlying storage engine of Prometheus to another key value storage engine written in Rust. And I think that's one of the best choices I have ever made. Yeah, it take me a lot of time, but I think about 70% of the time is not spending on the project itself. It's about like negotiating about Go and Rust, the SQL very pain. So we decided to do some change, and where we bring Prometheus into Rust. This is the most intuitive thing is about you can do some more deeper Prometheus hack in Rust and in maybe another project other than Rust or Go. Because if you have some scaffold already built, so you can first you can exploring other language features. It can help to put some buzzword like memory safety, the ownership when we talk about why Rust, but not here. Go has some strengths, features like Go routines or some things, and you can also exploring other things from other languages if you can written in them. And also this also unlock you or unlock the entire community a very different ecosystem or ecosystems. For example, you can use some good libraries in Rust or even in C++. You have noticed that I have mentioned a lot of the third languages about C++, and I will let you know why. And also you can using some cutting edge infrastructure. I will show you, like for example, here is a comparison of talking about using Parquet, the Apache Parquet file format, compare them in Rust and in Go, the feature set comparison. I know the second topic is about leveraging Parquet in Rust, in Prometheus ecosystem. So from this, we can see most of them are very similar. Only a little difference, but there is a difference. There is a gap. The third column is about using Prometheus, using Parquet in Go, what you can get, and the fourth column is about what you can get in Rust. And about this, the left corner project, the left corner screenshot is about how you can using advantages and just innovated. The date is very close. It's July, yes. How you use embedded index in Parquet format. You know, if you are familiar with Parquet formats, you know this is not a part of them about the indexes, but you can now use it in Parquet format to do some hack from the spec. This is only currently only exclusively available in Rust because it comes from the DataFusion community, so which is basically on Rust. And Parquet is about a metro format, and we still have many other cutting-edge innovations or cutting-edge fundings. This is another table for comparison. You may notice the columns, no official Go SDK. I have to say that I don't mean to find a lot of file formats that's not available in Go. Actually, this comes from a list that our customers sent to me and asked, do you support them? And then I find it's a good list, and I do a lot more investigation to find the community in which language it was built and if it is available in Go. So except the first one, the kind of old format, Apache Oak, is from the Hadoop ecosystem. Except this, all of other cutting-edge languages or new file format are not available in Go. I believe this is only a temporary status, but this is also the fact. Like this is not too much surprise because, or maybe to yours, we would expect more innovations or more small projects or more labs happens in other native languages like Rust or like C++ other than Go. And yes, and all of them are about columnar, and I think this is suited for Prometheus. So for this, if we just jump the first jump out of Go ecosystem, we will find it's like a nuclear fission. If we unlock Rust, we can use the native bindings, the C bindings of Rust to bind them to other languages. Like, for example, Prometheus parser, which is from its name, the parser of Prometheus, it is written in Rust, and we provide some bindings, and the community help us to bind them to Python and Lua. Imagine that, have you ever think of written some plugin in your NGX layer and with Lua script to intercept some Prometheus query? This is not, I think this is not available in, or not feasible in if you are all in Go, but it's now is an option to help you, to let you read some Lua script to intercept some, to ingest some business logic into your queries or into your request. I'm not saying this is a good choice in some architecture, but for us to build an infrastructure architecture, it's always help if we have more choices. And the other side is about another project, OpenDL, which is, you can think it of a cloud storage client. It is originally from Rust, and it has binding to a lot of more languages. And they share the same core of Rust. So that is why I call it like a nuclear fission. So it's not only about Rust itself, but you can use the native bindings or some other technologies to bring your things to many other languages. But funny, we theoretically can do this with C Go, with Go the same, but I think I haven't found the example. So yes, by doing this, by like porting or rewrite some part of Prometheus into another languages, not limited to Rust, we, or at least me, are kind of thinking my perspective to Prometheus has changed from it is a monitoring system to I think it's more like or more close to a standard for me. It's not limited to a single implementation, but it defines a lot of interfaces. Like from the, this is from a report from Prometheus compliance test. It says the Prometheus defines the interface compliance in 3 aspects. The metrics, which I think is how you ingest the data, and PromQL, the query languages, and the remote write, like line protocol or protocol you send data. So to me, Prometheus is more like a standard we, or many of others, to follow and to provide another implementation. You know, if there is a standard, you can exchange or replace the things underlying. And to my knowledge, Prometheus internally also has some standard for their internal interface. Like say, Prometheus allows you to extend your storage or extend the remote storage. The same thing, I think they are the same things. And by taking it as a standard without instead of single implementations, we can embracing broader technologies to explore freely, not limited to some single point. And yes, the standard itself is not limited or bound to a specific languages. But this is not the wild acknowledgement situation for now. But I hope it is. I hope it is in the future. And then the first case of how we Rust or how we provide a PromQ parser in Rust. In this case, we try our best to follow the Prometheus own implementations. Thanks to the Prometheus team, for about 5 years ago, they have shifted from a handwritten parser to a Yak-based generator parser. And this do save us a lot of time. We can reuse the same Yak definition. If we are not very familiar, Yak is another file format or another grammar define a programming language like PromQ. And some other things like, maybe not now, but some other previous programming languages are defined in Yak. So by reusing the Yak, or actually we have to do a little change to port them because Prometheus use Go Yak, I remember. It is not fully compatible with the original Yak. But the workload is kind of limited because most of things are reusable, and we can easily follow the new update from Prometheus from the standard, because they will also have to change to their Yak. So we only need to bring this diff to the Rust version of Yak and do a little change. And for the parser project, it's about two things, or its major APIs is about the first AST, the abstract syntax tree, defines how your PromQ query looks like to the computer. And the second is the generated pass logic. For example, how you pass the time range. Is it from Prometheus 3.0? I remember you can now optionally omit the second ACE from your time range. So there are two aspects. And the second, the logic is internally. So if we want to provide the parser to other languages from Rust, we only need to let some generated code to bring your ST definition to Rust, to C, to C++, to whatever you want. And during this rewrite, we know the Rust project, the Rust community, doesn't have a one-to-one mapping about dependency to the goal. So it does take us maybe half of the time to choose the dependency carefully to make them as much compatible as we can achieve. And with this, out of the Prometheus, out of the goal, you can now do some analysis. Yeah. Okay. You can now do some analysis to your system. Okay, and the second is about re-implemented the PromQ query language, query engine in Rust. And obviously I learned from yesterday. So monitoring is about junk data. I have to make these states because only for junk data you will consider the retention, the downsampling. You always will not do the same things for your bank account, for your business data. So yes, it is junk data. And for junk data, means there are less values. or unit of data have less value, or if you want to achieve the same value of other data, you have to store a much more large of volumes of your data. So yes, and to our knowledge, to maybe the development of software, we have acknowledged that one of the best way we think of handling junk data is do it in the data lake. Yes, data lake from the name is also stored junk data. Yeah, that is why we choose to re-implement PromQL in Rust, or what we gain from re-implementing it. We fully decompose the PromQL, like how this step works, how the other step works, how they are binding together, and then we rebuild it from a ground up in a totally different form. So, for example, we remap the operations to SQL model. For example, binary operator to connect to matrix is now join in the Rust version of PromQL. And range vector, which is essential to range function, is actually a slice of arrays or array of array. You can think it of a metric. And filter aggregation, they are very same from other SQL model, or we just use it from DataFusion. So if there is a standard protocol, yes, there will be a variety of implementation. And if one thing sounds like Prometheus and looks like a Prometheus and use like Prometheus, then it is Prometheus. So we do things differently or totally differently. This is how some of our tech stack, we didn't choose our dependency based on their names, but they happen to all bring Apache. So the first, about the storage layer, we choose Parquet columnar format for our file format, persistent file format. And Iceberg, we choose their index format, Parfin, as our index format, and we combine them with Parquet. And DataFusion as our execution engine, previous remapping and reusable operations are directly taken from DataFusion. And you can also do the similar things if you want to use, for example, DuckDB to write your own version of PromQL. You can, or at least for me, I have confidence to do this within 1 month. And arrow is an in-memory format. It's not only used in our computation level, but also in our protocol level or our memory cache level. And OpenDL allows us to access many of different services. Okay. And here is the goal we have achieved by rewrite this. It's now the drop-in replacement to Prometheus, at least if you only use ingest and query for PromQL. And we have achieved around 100% compliance to the vanilla PromQL. If you remember the compliance test, we are the highest one except Prometheus itself, even higher than other things which dependent on the Prometheus itself. Yeah, and we are also absorb lots of SQL experience by doing this in SQL model. For example, we can do a query optimizer to rewrite some dump queries or to prevent some dump queries to protect your system. And we have also provide, this is very mature technologies in SQL or in Postgres. You can analyze your queries like this. You can know how each steps takes their times. And also you can visualize it like per step in a very human readable visualization. And you also have out-of-the-box theory support of how you do distributed query language, distributed query execution. And this is something I think is cool. It might not be that useful, but I think it is cool. You can stack your queries with PromQL and with SQL You can see we use CTE, which is common table expression, to stack our queries. The first, the matrix pointed by a thing is a Prometheus, and then you follow a SQL to filter it, and then you follow another SQL to do count. You can, I know there are some strengths of Prometheus that SQL can't express, and there are some strengths of SQL Prometheus can't express. But for now, you can choose whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do. And if you know how we achieve this, you know this is very fundamental things and very intuitive things. We all shift our query logic to a centric intermediate representation, AR, the logic plan. And in this level, you cannot distinguish how this step from SQL or from Prometheus. They are totally mixed together, so they can seamlessly cooperate with others. And let's jump to the last page. Yes, the rewritten is about catching the fundamental things, the protocols, the data, and the computation. And then we also can provide some extensible things by doing this. For example, optional extrapolate, which also mentioned in the yesterday, and strict mode. For example, Prometheus will not report error if you query something doesn't exist, but we can choose it to report things because this is more like a SQL failure. And rich types, have you ever wanted query things other than just float? What about duration? What about interval? What about date time? My home assistant, I have a macro radar in my home, and it will report if there are some human activities, which the data is represented in interval or multi-values. For example, the load 1, load 5, load 15. They are actually gathered from one thing, but they have to be displayed in different things and visualized to be computed in different things. But we can actually store them together physically. So to wrap up, yeah. Okay, so I won't read it out. Okay, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. I've always been waiting for the day somebody wakes up and says, let's rewrite Prometheus in Rust. And I'm happy that it's happening. It's actually quite exciting. We probably have time for one question. Who wants to ask a question? All right, no questions, I guess.
I have one.
Yeah.
Where can we follow what you're doing?
Oh yeah, where can we follow what you're doing?
For the parser, we have a dedicated repo for it, and you can also try to bend it to much other languages. And for the query, it is a standalone mode within GrabTime's repo. It does not have a dedicated repo, but the code itself is separated.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And